Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. I just got a chance to see Jurassic World. It was a ton of fun. Since most of you probably haven't seen it yet, I'm going to do a non-spoilery review first, and then I'll do specific moments with spoilers. So here we go. If you guys haven't watched any of the other Jurassic Park movies in a while, it's been about 14 years since Jurassic Park 3. That's how long it's been. So the big task of this movie was to reinvigorate the franchise, which I feel like it did pretty good. You got Chris Pratt, who's blowing up all over the world right now. He's like the next Harrison Ford. Which is funny because I did get a bit of an Indiana Jones vibe off of his character. We've even got the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, it's kind of funny watching him do this after doing Daredevil. They got Jake Johnson, who you probably know from New Girl, Kate McGrath, who you probably remember from Merlin. There's a bunch of familiar faces. There's only one actor from the previous Jurassic Park films though. He was a geneticist in the first film. He's basically playing the same character he played in that film. Pretty much the entire main cast is new. His character does a good job of linking aspects of that first film to this film. It's almost like they're restarting the cycle. So you see a lot of Easter eggs for previous films, but mostly for the first film. If there's anything that this film does really well, it definitely captures a lot of the humor and awkwardness of going to like a giant theme park just filled with bodies of people. It's so perfect for the disaster movie genre. That's what Jurassic Park movies are. They're disaster movies like San Andreas, only it's the dinosaurs that are the earthquake. And even though we have Star-Lord on screen and a lot of like really funny performances from the actors, the dinosaurs are still the main stars of the film. It's kind of like going to a Transformers movie or to like a Ninja Turtles movie. You don't go to see Megan Fox. You go to see the robots and the turtles do something just absolutely crazy. That's why this is such an awesome summer popcorn movie. You know, you just go for like a really awesome roller coaster ride. Thematically, I think that's why the Jurassic Park movies work so well, like the way that they built them, because it's a theme park, you go to theme parks to go on rides, the movie itself is kind of like a roller coaster ride. The A story of the film is all about this dinosaur disaster. The B story lays in a lot of the subtext and the morality. People can be every bit as bad or even worse than giant man-eating dinosaurs. Steven Spielberg is a director that's known for like his very visual storytelling style, and even though he didn't direct this film, there's a lot from his original Jurassic Park films laid into this. At the end of the day though, Jurassic Park is a franchise, so Jurassic World, this movie, is not going to be the last one by any means. Like I said, they're trying to reinvigorate the franchise. There are a couple clear setups in the movie that give you some ideas about where the next one might go. They haven't made any indications about when that movie's going to come or what the cast is going to be, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in spoilers, because the ending does give you a pretty good idea about how they're going to escalate the next movie. So I'm going to talk about my favorite moments from the film now, so just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Here we go. Starting with number 5, dinosaurs are starting to get boring. The whole starting point for the disaster in this movie was the creation of the Indominus Rex, like, you know, the big villain of the movie. They created him because they felt like people were getting bored with normal dinosaurs. That's a big source of comedy in the film. There's a big joke because Chris Pratt's like, dinosaurs are exciting enough by themselves. Why do you need to make some crazy monster dinosaur? Sponsored by Verizon, no less. That was actually a great joke in the film. Verizon was actually a real-life sponsor of the film. Like, they gave the Jurassic World people a bunch of money so they'd use their name in the film. They said they were totally fine with the fact that the Indominus Rex kills a bunch of people. Like, they just like the publicity. So it's a joke in the film, but it's also a real-life product placement thing. This also gets into like the subtext of the film. You know, what does it say about us as people if we become bored with something as crazy as dinosaurs? Thematically, they also tied like the two young boys in with that. The older one is just only interested in looking at girls. Like, he absolutely could care less about the dinosaurs in the park. The consequence of that being is like, you know, when you don't take dinosaurs, when you don't take these big things seriously, things go crazy. That's what Chris Pratt's character is shouting through the entire movie. He's like, these are real animals. They don't care that they were made in a test tube. All they want to do is hunt, eat, and reproduce. So the big message of the film is respect nature or face the consequences, which also kind of leads into what the sequel is probably going to end up being. On to number 4, Henry Wu and Vincent D'Onofrio's character create a genetic monster for the military. You could just tell the minute someone said, I'm not allowed to tell you what DNA is inside this dinosaur, that it was going to turn out to be like some crazy freakazoid. Anytime someone in a film withholds important information like that in a crisis, you kind of know that they're going to turn out to be the villain. So if you want to point to the real villains of the film, it's Dr. Henry Wu and Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio is actually an InGen person, so technically InGen are the villains, and you could actually say that of all the Jurassic Park films. The only difference between the geneticists in this film and the other films are that the other films, they seemed a little bit more neutral. Here he almost goes into maniacal laughter when he's talking to Omar Sy. He's the guy that plays the CEO. The CEO is like, I'm shutting this down. And Henry Wu's like, you wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for me. So very clearly the villain in that situation. Let me know if you figured out early on which dinosaurs that big dinosaur was made of. They gave you a lot of clues with the footprint and the way it smelled its prey, like got up really close. It's a giant summer movie, so it's made to be pretty easy to follow. So like you could take a little kid to it and they should be able to figure out what that giant dinosaur is. Moving on to number 3, the Indominus Rex is a T-Rex Velociraptor hybrid. There was a lot of DNA from other animals in there too. Like that's what the lab scene was for, them going through all the tanks, like the snake, the lizard that could change colors. But the two big ones were T-Rex and Velociraptor. So it was, really big and aggressive like a T-Rex, but it was really smart and fast like a Velociraptor. The reason that they created it is because Vincent D'Onofrio was trying to sell a military contract, so they wanted to create this living weapon. So he went to the geneticist and said, I'll give you a ton of money if you make this for me. That's why at the end of the film, whenever he was escaping, whenever he was flying off in the helicopter, he took all those embryos. The important thing to remember, especially for the sequel, is that he got off the island with those embryos so they can make more Indominus Rexes. On to number 2, Chris Pratt's Raptor Pack. This is one of the most fun things about the film. You take the villain from the previous Jurassic Park films and you make them your friends. As crazy as that seems, they did give themselves like a backdoor with the logic. They're still very vicious. It's like trying to train giant lions. So Chris Pratt's character very wisely says, I don't control them, it's a relationship. Which is why, during the middle of the movie, the raptors turn on him and follow a new alpha. Pack mentality, if you've ever watched a werewolf movie, there's always an alpha and a beta. Like there's a lot of that logic built into the film. If a new alpha comes along that's more powerful, the pack will switch allegiance. Just think of the idea of domesticated raptors though. Like so domesticated they would put them in that petting zoo. But finally, my number 1 moment in the film, T-Rex versus Indominus Rex. This is an even better example of turning the villain of the previous movies into the hero of this film. So as much as the film puts Chris Pratt forward as the hero of the film, like he's a total badass, the T-Rex, with a lot of help from Blue here, and the aquatic dinosaur are the big heroes of the film. Really, the biggest success of the film is getting you to fall in love with that Velociraptor that helps the T-Rex defeat the Indominus Rex. Like he almost sacrifices himself. It's a very Lassie, Old Yeller type moment. So if you've ever seen those movies, if you've ever seen Old Yeller and you see the boy's relationship with the dog, that's kind of like Chris Pratt's relationship with the Velociraptors. Here's my big question for you guys. What was your favorite moment from the film? And did you love those Velociraptors by the end? Like, do you feel like the film was successful in getting you to love them? I feel like anybody that's owned a dog or a large pet will totally understand the emotional roller coaster that the film takes you on. It does hit a lot of the same beats that animal movies hit like that. It's like Chris Pratt's Marley and Me, except instead of the dog, it's a Velociraptor. There were a whole bunch of Easter eggs in the film too though, so let's talk about a couple of the big ones. First, Jake Johnson's t-shirt. In case you missed it, the t-shirt that Jake Johnson is wearing when you first meet him in the film in that control room is the logo from the original Jurassic Park film. There were a lot of moments where the film was making fun of itself. This park is going to be way better than the original park, giant air quotes. Jake Johnson's character himself is like an alternate universe good version of Wayne Knight's character from the first film. In case you don't remember him, he was the guy that played Newman on Seinfeld. He was kind of like a dirtbag in the first film. Jake Johnson's character is kind of like the schlub like he is, only he turns out to be a hero in this film. Like I said, this movie takes a lot of the evil stuff from the first couple of films, flips it, and makes it good. So Velociraptors, T-Rex, Newman, all good in this film. The other biggest Easter eggs in the film, though, were when the kids actually went to the original park. They open the doors to what looks like this hidden temple, and they find the main hall of the original park with like all those old cars. 1993 Jeep Wrangler, like they even say it out loud. There's also like a lot of small Easter eggs too, a lot of small visual Easter eggs. Like the little cartoon from the first film that explains DNA. They turned that into a hologram that was playing in like that main room. And the one really awesome Bryce Dallas Howard Easter egg, is when she grabbed the flare and released the T-Rex. That was a nice homage to the first film where Sam Neill used that flare to distract the T-Rex. The only big criticism of the film I've seen is the Deus Ex Machina and with the aquatic dinosaur getting the Indominus Rex and, pulling it into the bay. I felt like it totally worked given that this movie is meant to be like a fun popcorn movie, but you could argue that kind of came out of nowhere. But it's like trying to criticize a Fast and Furious movie for twists in its logic. Like it's not meant to portray reality. Like this is pure fantasy. But in case you guys are watching this and you haven't seen it yet, be sure to go see it. It's a lot of fun. They're definitely going to be making more films. Next film is probably going to follow up with the Doctor trying to make more Indominus Rexes and them getting loose all over the world. Think about it this way. The film is called Jurassic World, but it's just a play on Disney World. Thematically, think about what that might mean for the entire world if the dinosaurs get out, if the Indominus Rexes get out. Unstoppable killing machines loose all over the world. I feel like that's where the franchise is headed. It's a disaster movie franchise, so why not turn the island disaster into a world disaster? But you guys can let me know, where do you feel like the sequel is going to go? Do you feel like they're going to make more of these and they'll get loose all over the world? There are a couple other big movies that are coming this summer in the next couple of weeks, including Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. I'll totally be doing videos for them, so be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. If there's any other movies that you guys want me to do videos for, just let me know. I'm trying to do more movie videos. While you guys wait for that, in other epic disasters this weekend, the Game of Thrones finale is coming up, so you can click here to learn all about the Night's King in Azor Ahai, and you can click here to learn all about the Punisher coming to Daredevil Season 2. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.